Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Shavi Zane, and I'm coming on to bring a message for the chosen at this time. This message may not resonate with everyone, but for a select few of you, it's definitely going to resonate. I want to start off by saying that many of you are now coming into the realization of just how powerful you are, and some of you may not even have a clue. Because whether you're privy to this or not, many of you were surrounded by some of what the world would consider the baddest dark witches and warlocks money could buy. Because of your divine assignment, you literally had beings who were doing spell work, casting spells against you, trying to siphon your energy, trying to diminish your light, sending spells towards you to mess with your finances, your mental health, your spiritual growth, your love life. Like, they really put in lots of energy, lots of effort. They conjured up a lot of demons. And the fact of the matter is, these people cannot believe how powerful and protected you are. For some reason, they underestimated you. They thought that you were a rookie in this spiritual realm. They thought that you had very little understanding of how to protect yourself and how to raise your vibrations and how to tap in spiritually. They really thought that you would remain asleep, or that was their hopes, was to keep you asleep. But your spiritual gifts have become amplified to the point where they now realize that they have to learn from you. These people were placed on a pedestal. They were considered high-ranking, like I said, dark witches and warlocks. But you ended up being placed into solitude, in this cocoon. And in this solitude, your spiritual gifts became more and more powerful, to the point where you started to see things so clearly that it was undeniable that you had to do some work on yourself to protect your energy. You had to get closer to the Most High Mother and Father. You had to open up the lines of communication with your spiritual team. Like, you began to see the importance of rising into your divinity, and you did just that. And now you see very clearly just how inauthentic you were when you was connected to some of those false relationships and false people. I feel like these people who were working up against you, they got a lot to say behind the scenes. But it's really their ego that has been damaged. Because for a long time, they had a reputation of being able to really create destruction in people's lives. And it's only because many of those people that they were working against were not you. See, when they chose to work up against you, they pretty much laid out their fate. And it's not a good one. They now face extreme consequences for their actions. They see just how strong and how powerful you are and how much you have transformed in spite of their efforts to keep you down. And that's what's boggling their mind. They don't understand how is it possible with them using what they would consider their best arsenal against you. Many of them, because they couldn't come up against you, they couldn't bring you down by themselves, they had to actually form groups. They did group rituals, group ceremonies to try and bring you down to your knees. And all they saw happen each time they did it was you came out stronger. How is that possible, they say. So now they argue with each other. They sit amongst each other, looking at each other like, man, I guess we're not what we thought we were. Now they have to reevaluate their belief systems. Now they have to reevaluate who they worship, what they worshiped, what they thought was powerful. They now realize is a peon. They're peons in the presence of your spiritual team. They are peons in the presence of you yourself. they now realize that what they thought was powerful holds no weight when it comes to the chosen. They're extremely envious of you and your gifts. But what they're really disappointed about is the fact that they failed miserably at their assignment to try and prevent you from becoming a part of Christ consciousness and stepping into your purpose as a teacher, as a leader, as a healer. Many of you are moving down a totally new path now because you recognize that what you used to do in the past is not in alignment with your purpose. Like your energy, your vibrations, your wisdom, your spiritual gifts. You're so tapped in that you know without a shadow of a doubt that you are here to do spiritual work. You're here to uplift and raise the vibrations of humanity. So you now come into remembrance of your divine assignment. And so many of you, you recognize that, okay, you grew up being conditioned to believe a certain thing, right? Maybe if you grew up in Christianity or whatever religious belief system you were rooted in at that time, you was conditioned to believe that doing spiritual work to help protect yourself, calling on your ancestors, connecting with your angels, creating an altar for yourself, doing, salt baths and working with crystals and frequencies and things like that. You was told that it was all wickedness, but it was fed to you backwards. See, you recognize now that they told you it was wickedness because those things are actually meant for the chosen and the chosen alone. But it got perverted, it got distorted, it got misused and abused by people who gained access to this understanding and access to knowing what these tools could do, and they used it for wickedness. And so while we were asleep as the chosen seed, they began to, they surrounded the chosen. Of course, there's always gatekeepers that surrounds the chosen from the time that you're born. The powers that were, they make sure of it. Through spell work, rituals, and pretty much establishing that your life may play out a certain way based on the environment that you grow up in and the hardships that they put on your ancestors and things of that nature. So the chosen has always had these gatekeepers that would keep watch for the powers that were to ensure that you would not free yourself of the matrix. But now your eyes have opened. You came into remembrance of who you are and you said, okay, it may have seemed like you was breaking the rules. Of course, the rules of society told you that you had to stay fixed and confined to religion, and that anything that was outside of what was taught to you would send you straight to the pits of hell. But you said, you know what, you're going to be the rebel. And you broke what they call the rules of society, and you did it with conviction in order to make a difference. You understood that the scales needed to be balanced and that you had to take back your position and your throne. You had to take back those tools and those resources that the Most High has so gracefully placed here on this earth for the chosen to use in order to heal ourselves, to awaken, to open our third eye, to awaken our gifts, to come into remembrance of who we are, to activate our DNA. You started to utilize those tools that everybody told you was wickedness. Your enemies did not anticipate you coming into that understanding here. They truly believed that they had it in the bag. They thought that they was going to bring you down so low that you would never be able to get back up, and some of them even hoped to take you up out of here. But what a foolish decision it was, right? Because now everything that they tried to do has backfired. They now know that you are chosen. They now know that you are powerful. They now know that they lose and you win. And they're having a hard time accepting that because many of you ended up buried. But it was not the type of burying, where you was not going to grow from it, because see, you're a chosen seed. And so even though they set up traps and snares and they, put all types of dirt on your name and they kicked you while you was down and they sent all types of blockages and spell work to hold you back, you ended up being planted and fertilized in the right soil. And when you grew, oh my goodness, not only are you still growing, but you're going to grow to something that they can't even imagine. They are upset that you was able to overcome. They see where you're at now, but these people, they have no idea how massive this thing is getting ready to be for you. I don't even know if you realize it. But it's because you overcame and you continue to nurture yourself while you was embedded in that soil. In that darkness is where you found yourself. In that darkness is where you got watered, you got nurtured, you were healed, you were cleansed, you was purified, you became grounded, connected to Mother Earth again. You got back to your roots again. You found yourself again. And because of this, now you're sprouting and the world is beginning to see you rise, and they can't believe it. They're like, what? Phoenix is now rising from the ashes? How is this possible that they have been set free from the traps and snares? Because you were supposed to be the ultimate sacrifice for them. You were supposed to be the sacrifice for them that would then give them more power. They would then be able to beat their chest and say, I overcame this one. I have another one under my belt. But they had no idea who they was messing with. But now they do. And they are terrified of the karma that's boomeranging back to them, because it's already happening. They're already feeling the effects of what they did to you. These people were straight out troublemakers, okay? This was their life. Causing trauma, drama, pain for others. Even though they worked with one another against you, they didn't even like each other. But you began to use your intuition. That veil, that veil was lifted. Your spiritual eyes are now open, and you understand who was false and who was true. And once you begin to release them, not just physically, but spiritually, you release them because you awaken to something greater. You awaken to who you are. You awaken to the fact that, hold on, I don't have to be in this energy. I have the authority to grow. I have the authority to protect my energy. I have the authority to take my power back. I have the authority to declare and decree that the highest form of righteous judgment is now casted upon my enemies. No longer are you in a submissive state where you're just passively living, allowing others to control your destiny. No, you now realize that your thoughts create things, and that you have been given a divine assignment. And with that divine assignment, the Most High Mother and Father wouldn't grant you that assignment unless you was powerful enough to overcome your enemies first. You had to first go through the fire first. You had to be tested through the fire to see, are you going to be able to come out on the other side of that thing of diamond? And you did just that. I'm talking about y'all are out there shining. You are in your divine feminine. You are in your divine masculine. You have now balanced both. And so many of those things that you have been praying for and wishing for is now coming into your life. The people that worked against you, they see very clearly now, and they are in deep regret, because there's great punishment that is now upon their heads. Like, there is no future of happiness for them. There is no spiritual work that they can do to offset or to clear or to override or to avoid the punishment that is coming to them. They have to face their judgment. Just as you have to receive your justice, they have to face their judgment. It's called a balancing of energy. It has to happen. They made their decision. We all have free will. You had the free will to look at your circumstances from a different angle and to recognize, okay, all is not what it seems. Now, with your natural eyes, it may have seemed as if everything had gone to hell, and that ego, that ego, and that human nature wanted to say, you know what, I have to give up. You know, it wanted to keep you in survival mode, but that spiritual energy, that spark that was within you said, no, it's something greater here. This is happening for a greater reason. This is happening for a greater purpose. And now I have to go within myself, and I have to cleanse. I have to purify. because it starts from the inside out, as within, so without. It starts in the spiritual realm first, as above, so below. And so you begin to tap into that spiritual power that you possess. And so now, things that seem like they were immovable have now moved. Many of you have been able to regain good health again. You've been able to overcome addictive behavior patterns. You've been able to release relatives that were no longer serving your highest good. You've been able to break generational curses off of your family. You have broken the spell work and the curses. Because see, understand that generational curses, and I've spoken about this time and time again on my channel, generational curses are literally spell work, rituals. That's what a curse is. It is an incantation, something that is spoken over your life and over the lives of your lineage to ensure that you will remain anchored and shackled down. But you broke those curses. You removed the chains off of your ancestors in the spiritual realm. And so because of this, now your ancestors can now thrive. They can now move on your behalf in the spiritual realm. They can now protect you. You've always had divine protection around you, but remember, your spiritual team is not going to act unless you ask. They will not impede on your free will. And many of you came to realize that there's nothing that is too big or too small. If you reach out and ask for it, they will grant it to you, especially when it's in alignment with you becoming a better version of yourself. These people who were practicing and working against you did not realize the power of your ancestors. They didn't realize the power of the spiritual team that you're connected to. They didn't understand the royalty of your bloodline. See, because the thing is, some of these people that was working up against you are your blood family, but they didn't understand that the DNA that you possess is special. The DNA that you possess, you have gained the key to access those codes to unlock what they call dormant DNA. They didn't understand that. So they thought that you didn't have a team of protection that was far greater than their team, because they thought, well, hey, we share the same DNA. But see, they didn't understand the structure. They didn't understand that this thing is not set up to where they share the exact same DNA as you. You have access to your Akashic records. You have access to ancient wisdom that goes back to the beginning of time. You have a divine connection to all of the elements: earth, wind, water, fire, the stars, the moon, the planets. Your connection stretches far and beyond anything that they could ever imagine, while they were simply working with demons who have to bow down in the face of high vibrational beings. And now that you have risen and you have come into remembrance of the royalty and the God and the goddesses that you are, even those demons recognize that they must bow down before you, because you are a child of the Most High Mother and Father. You have a divine assignment that cannot be stopped, and it will not be stopped. And so now, there are great things that's going to happen for you. What seemed impossible is now becoming possible. And it's just going to take a matter of patience for you to allow whatever seeds you have planted to continue to grow. Allow those ties, those cords that you had to the wrong people, sever those ties and don't look back. Any efforts or things that they tried to send against you is no longer working. All of their wicked intentions is no longer working, because you are too strong. You are too strong and too powerful now. This is one of the greatest lessons that your enemies could receive, was to watch you in spite of all. I'm talking about these people got so desperate that they said, we got to start hiring outsiders. We got to get together. That's how you know how weak this crap is that they was doing. They were in numbers while you sat there in your cocoon alone, which is you, the Most High, and your spiritual team. But see, they underestimated the power of the Most High. They underestimated the calling that's over your life. You can't be defeated because you're not meant to be defeated. Your calling is too important for you to be defeated. And even if you said, well, I'm not ready, I don't want to take the call, I just don't think I'm built for this, even you yourself can't stop it. You can postpone it, but you can't stop it. You're going to fulfill your calling. And so I feel like many of you have come to embrace that. You've come to accept that. You've come to have gratitude for that, because it's something to give thanks for, to have gratitude for the Most High even choosing you and finding you worthy enough to be used as a vessel on their behalf, Most High Mother and Father. So I think now you've embraced it. So continue to walk in your power and continue to give your enemies something to talk about, because they're going to be watching you. They are watching you very, very hard, because they know that your time is coming. They know that you are getting ready to rise high. They know that you are getting ready to receive abundance that is over and beyond. Why? Because they held back. They caused blockages for a long time. And so now that the levee is broken, it's like a floodgate of blessings is getting ready to come into your life. A floodgate of spiritual gifts, a floodgate of wisdom, a floodgate of happiness, peace. Even your soul tribe, you're going to be connecting with them on levels that you never expected. It is a floodgate of beautiful energy that is coming into your life, because it was held back from you for far too long. And now that you have reclaimed your inheritance, your birthright, your sovereignty, and everything that was withheld from you, your ancestors, your lineage, now you get to receive what is divinely yours, because you have earned it. So let them sit back and watch, because while they're watching you, they still got to worry about all of them daggers that's hitting them. Okay, they got to be ducking and dodging, but the fact of the matter is they can duck, they can dodge all they want to, but the Most High never misses. So while they're watching you, they're going to also be watching their lives turn into hell. And it's not something that you want to feel sorry or bad about, because karma must happen in order for the scales to balance. And so allow them to deal with the karma so that they can go within, do some work, heal themselves, and recognize that you don't mess with the chosen. So that they can humble down before the Most High Mother and Father and understand that Mother and Father has the authority, the first and final say. And that there's no demon, no warlock, or no witch that can overcome the destiny of what the Most High Mother and Father has set before us. That's my message. I love you all. Talk to you next time.